I've really got something to talk about. This is something that I've thought about for probably the last, I don't know, 20 since 2012-ish, right around the time that I graduated high school. But I'm really starting to have this desire for the steps in my life that I want to take, and that involves a lot of things. Um, Constantly thinking about this stuff, but we have this illusion of progress in our society, and what I mean by that is, we have this idea that things need to be constantly improved. We constantly need to be making more money. We constantly need to be working more. Constantly need to be building something. Constantly be needing to, whatever it may be in your life. And to a certain degree, I guess that can be true. This is all relative. So, somebody that works a corporate job and they have $1 million home, or I should say $1 million mortgage, something like that. There is an illusion of needing to constantly do something because you've created that lifestyle. You put in so much money into this mortgage. With that mortgage comes really expensive, heating and electricity costs and water bills, and you decided that to match that $1 million home, you need a $300,000 car, just because you can afford to make the monthly payments on it. Afford, I might add. Um, it's we live in this society now where we think that we constantly have to be doing something. If we're not doing something, then we're lazy. Some people may even go and say that, like, you're a piece of shit if you're not, constantly doing something every day. Um, Always doing, always learning, always, making money, always making a decision. And I don't particularly agree with that. Something that I've dealt with in my life is, the anxiety that comes with knowing that there needs to be a lot of things done. Like, for example, for me, um, it, if I'm in a stressful situation, let's just say if I'm hunting, and like the very first time I ever went hunting, my cousin had fallen, and we were right at the end of our hunting trip. We were fucking exhausted, but my cousin fell, and he got a stick shoved in his side or something. I don't remember exactly where it was, but in that moment, that's kind of a stressful situation. So, but in those types of situations, it's very easy for me to stop what I'm doing and tend to something that needs to be taken care of, right? Where, on the other hand, when I work 12 hours a day and I come home and I know that there's like dishes that need to be done, or my own laundry, or taking a shower, or making meal preps, that stuff is like mundane, but it's harder for me to grasp, like, an importance of that stuff needing to be done. And there's a lot more of that stuff that needs to be done. And I've kind of realized that I almost use my hobbies, like making YouTube videos and stuff, as a distraction from maybe the stuff that kind of needs to be done. On the contrary, since I've started making YouTube videos, I've been trying to do better in my life, making sure that whenever I get home, I have like 30 minutes to do something, before, whatever it is that I start doing. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get to is, when we create this lifestyle where we almost can't stop, or else we can't afford our home. If we stop, we can't, get a project done. If we even think about taking a moment to hang out with somebody, like one of our friends or our family, then we're not making progress towards something, right? That is an illusion. And that may be hard for somebody to accept that idea that has created a lifestyle for themselves that requires them to make that money, or complete these projects, or whatever it may be, your career choice, whatever. But it's true. I mean, us as humans, we are just animals, and I don't care what anybody has to say about that, evolved or whatever, whatnot. We're living beings. We are animals. Literally all that we need is some sort of shelter. That doesn't even mean a house. We can live in the environment if we so choose to, and if we learn how to do so. We used to do it. Some sort of shelter or protection, I would say. Food and water. That's literally all that we need to survive. So I guess that's my question, is why do we need more? Why do we need a fancy house? Why do we need a fancy vehicle? Why do we need to make more money? We really don't. That's going down a rabbit hole, I understand, but that's what I'm trying to pose is, life could be so much simpler than stressing over the mundane things that we have developed in our lives. With all of this being said, since I have started, and I will try to potentially document this as I'm going through my own quote-unquote transformation in my life, but since I've started to make goals or do little mundane tasks more often, getting the mundane shit out of the way, rather than thinking about what I should do and trying to be perfectionist about it, I've just started doing. And when you just start doing things, it doesn't really matter how you do things, but those things get done a lot easier. This is a lot simpler said than done, I know, especially with people that struggle with ADHD. I know that there's some of you that may come into and I hope you do. I hope you come into the comments to tell me about your experience, because I want to hear it, truly. But the more that you just do rather than think, as soon as you get to a point where you almost have this paralysis by analysis, just stop thinking and just pick up something and put it away. I don't know. It just seems like things sort of get done. So, and what I'm trying to get to on that is that whole idea with the illusion of progress. Once you start taking care of yourself in these little mundane ways, then you're not distracted, and you can start doing the things that you want to do, or the things that are important to you. Because for me, I'm a truck driver. I don't get fulfillment out of truck driving. I get money, but to only work and to only work for a paycheck, it's not fulfilling at all. It's not. And so I have to find ways to make sure that the other things that I'm doing in my everyday life are fulfilling. Not just for me, mainly for me, but not just for me, but for my partner as well. So, I don't know. I've got some plans. I've got a lot of plans coming up here in the next, I'd say, 5 years. And I'm going to see if I can't make it happen quicker than 5 years. I know that there is a way. And it's about time to start right now. But yeah, thank you for watching. These videos, and I'm glad that I put this little bit of information at the end, but these videos are kind of chaotic, and I think that's what my channel is about, is the beauty of the chaos of, you know, I can't stick with one thing in my whole life. I've never been able to. I always sort of get bored with what I'm doing. I think I'll be able to start making better videos, you know, higher quality, better audio, more in-depth in certain projects. But this channel is about everything that I do or what I'm thinking. You know, this is also something I'm trying to grow. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody that takes the time to listen to this stuff. I know this is different than what I've been doing. This is more philosophical, but this stuff is important to me. And I think it's important to a lot more people than just myself. And that's why I want to start making more of these videos. And yeah, I apologize I haven't posted in over a week. I got over a sickness. I don't even know what it was, but I had a fever of 101 for like 4 days. And then we had our early Thanksgiving with all of our friends that flew out. So I didn't really have a whole lot of time. I was like recovering while we were doing our Friendsgiving. So, yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of time to think the past couple weeks. So, but I'm getting back into it. So I appreciate everybody that watched this video. If you like this video, please like it. Consider subscribing, leave a comment. I'm trying to grow this channel to 50 subscribers at least, so I can start doing live videos. I really, really want to get into the live videos. And it would make the world of a difference if you could help and subscribe. Thank you.